Look, you don't need me to tell you that Uncharted 3 is a great game. There was never even really a question it would be great. The only question you could ask about Drake's Deception is whether it breaks new ground in the action genre like its acclaimed predecessor did. And the answer is no, not really. But that's fine. There really hasn't been anything quite like Uncharted 2 in the last 2 years. So if all we're getting in this sequel is just another rip-roaring roller coaster ride that hits all the same high notes as the last one, I'm certainly not going to complain. Are you? Uncharted 3 sends Nathan Drake off on yet another globe-trotting quest to find another fabled treasure lost by another legendary explorer.
Oh, city of immeasurable wealth, destroyed by God for its arrogance, swallowed forever in the sands of the Rubel Khali Desert. I like the immeasurable wealth part anyway.
If the story's framework sounds a little familiar, the game at least does a great job of sending you to a fresh list of far-flung locales that includes a Syrian castle, an endlessly sprawling desert, plenty of ancient temples and tombs, and even a medieval fortress located underneath London itself. Of course, the heart of Uncharted has always been the believable relationships between a cast of characters that's really easy to like, and the banter between Drake, Sully, Elena, Chloe, and even their new friends is as sharp and artful as it's ever been.
You know, one of these days you're really gonna have to start carrying your own matches.
What are you talking about?
Uncharted 3's villainy is taken care of by regal old British lady Catherine Marlowe. She's got kind of a more reserved, smoldering style of evil than the series' usual cast of hammy warlords and mercenaries, and she's also got some connections to Drake's past. There's some really neat playable flashbacks in here that offer just a little bit of the history about exactly how Drake and Sully became such an inseparable treasure-hunting duo in the first place.
What the hell do you think you're doing? He's just a kid.
Stop him!
If there's some reason you didn't enjoy putting your hands on a controller and playing Uncharted 2, this game really won't change your mind. That's because the climbing, the shooting, and the puzzle solving all return feeling more or less exactly like they did last time.
That's cool.
Other than the enemies occasionally sponging up a few too many bullets, Uncharted 3's cover-based combat has a great intensity to it, and there's a few subtle improvements like expanded melee combat and the ability to throw grenades back at enemies that really kind of flesh out your options in a firefight. Drake also continues his reign as the best solo climber in the history of the world, and the way the game lets you scrabble and hoist your way over one perilous environment after another is also still a big treat. And back again are plenty of clockwork puzzles baked right into the temples and ruins you'll be exploring.
Well, a secret passage.
The puzzles do a great job of making you reference both your in-game notebook and the intricacies of the ancient structures around you to suss out their solutions. And when you uncover the truths hidden behind those puzzles is when you really feel the most connected to that mystical past that Drake hungers for so desperately.
Wait, 1, 2, pull, or 1, 2, 3, pull?
Just pull.
Got it.
Of course, it has to be said that Uncharted 3's cinematic action sequences remain absolutely the best in the industry. And as good as the rest of the game is, these are the moments that are really going to stand out for you. One minute you're trying to escape a blazing castle that's collapsing all around you. The next you're fighting a bunch of thugs while you're literally hanging out the back of a soaring cargo plane, or you're engaged in a firefight on a cruise ship that's actually in the process of capsizing. The only reason this stuff might be a little bit less impressive is that in the last game, those sorts of set pieces were just like a bolt out of the blue. You didn't even know that they could do that. This time you already have some idea of what Naughty Dog is capable of pulling off, but that really doesn't make it any less exciting to watch them do it all again.
We're sinking if you haven't noticed!
Of course, all this stuff is designed to play out exactly one specific way. Uncharted 3 is a hell of a ride for its 8 or so hours, but it's so tightly scripted and paced that once you've seen it, you've pretty much seen it. Good thing there's also an amazingly robust multiplayer suite in here. This thing includes both a traditional competitive offering and a spate of cooperative modes, and it's all tied together by a really rich character progression system. Both of these modes let you unlock more weapon mods, perks, and cosmetic doohickeys than most players are even going to know what to do with. Now, fair warning, the people who've been playing Uncharted multiplayer for the last 2 years are pretty damn good at it, so the competition across the game's numerous versus modes is pretty intense. But it's all great fun, and it's really well put together. But then again, you could never even touch the competitive stuff and still have a really satisfying multiplayer experience in Uncharted 3. The core of the co-op is a 5-chapter adventure mode that uses some decent little narrative touches to drive 3 players through a series of super intense combat levels that actually feature some familiar faces from the series' past. There's also a wave-based survival mode that rotates through several objective types, and a 2-on-2 mode that plops some AI enemies in for good measure. Uncharted 3 is another class act that knows exactly what kind of game it is and gives 110%, not just reaching, but surpassing its cinematic goals. Even if it sticks a little close to that fantastic formula that Naughty Dog hammered out in the last game, you can't really argue with more of a good thing, right? This is one of the best games of the year, one of the best games on the PS3, and you'd pretty much be crazy not to play it.